For today's class, we are going to be working on assignment 5. So let's go over to assignments and take a look at assignment 5. Assignment 5, we are going to create, we're going to begin by creating one business card for a company below. So it can be for Laura's Laundromat, Big Fish Diner, Farmer Joe's Organic Market, Gardenia Bakery, or Sunny Cafe. You only need to pick one of these businesses, and if you pick any one of them, you have to enter their address and their phone number as well. And if there is something else you would like to enter, please go ahead, as long as you have room. So on the business card, you have to not only have the business logo, the address, and the phone number, you must also have some kind of a logo. So for example, for Laura's Laundromat, you can have a logo that's maybe a t-shirt or a dress on a hanger or a washing machine. Okay, so it's up to you. For Gardenia Bakery, perhaps maybe you want to have a logo that's like a loaf of bread or a pastry or a croissant. Just like in the previous assignment, you created a logo for the assignment 4. For assignment 5, you will be creating a logo as well, but in the form of a business card. Okay, so let's go take a look at what this business card will look like. So you're going to create a business card for one of the companies below, and each card is going to be 3.5 by 2 inches. So I would like you to lay 10 copies of this card out on 8.5 by 11 inches artboard. And then you would export your 8.5 by 11 inches file as a JPEG and also save it as an Illustrator. Okay, so let me just go into Illustrator and we'll take a look step by step at what all this means. So let's go to letter size. Okay, so that's 8.5 by 11. Letter size is 8.5 by 11. I'm going to begin by creating a rectangle. So I can do that using a rectangle tool. And I want my business card to have a nice sort of yellow background with no stroke around it. You don't really want to have a stroke around your business card. You just want it to be one solid color. There we go. Just gonna move some of this stuff away. Okay, and I can click and drag. So as I click and drag, it shows me, but this is in points, how big my business card is. Okay, so which makes it sort of hard, but if I go to properties, I can change the points here, but I actually don't know what 111 points is in inches. So if you remember, it needs to be 3.5 inches by 2 inches. So let me just go and delete this. So let's start from the beginning. One of the things that we can do is we can go change our preferences. So you can, under properties, you can go to preferences, or if you don't have properties open, you can go to edit, preferences, units. Okay, again, that's edit, preferences, units. Okay, so under units, just in general, I want to have it in inches. Okay, so under general, go to inches and go OK. Now let's start again. So let's go over here to my rectangle tool. I've changed it to the color that I want, and I'm gonna click and drag. When I click and drag, it tells me, you can see that's changing. So I need 3.5. I can click out, drag out 3.5. It's quite hard to do so because now I'm 3.57. I need to go 3.5. There we go, 3.5. Oh, not quite. By 2. Okay, so I ended up with the 3.64 by 2. So I can go in here and change 3.5 by 2 inches. So I can do that here. Okay, and I don't want to constrain, maintain the proportions. So here we go, 3.5 by 2. Now I want to lock that. So again, this would be under properties. If you don't have properties open for whatever reason, go to window, properties. Okay, and there over here, and W is the width and H is the height. You can change that there. Okay, so that's one way to create the exact size that you want for your business card. I have a quicker way. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go click on my rectangle tool and just click once on my page. Not click and drag, but just click once on my page with my rectangle tool. And then here this shows up, so I can just type in 3.5 IN for inches by 2 IN and just go okay. There we go. That's a lot easier than having to click and drag out the exact shape or having to open up properties and entering the dimensions in there. So just go to rectangle tool, click once on your page, and then just type in manually what size you want, 3.5 by 2. All right, here's another one. All right, so my instructions say that I need to have 10 copies of this, okay? So what that would look like, okay, I have 2 right now. What that will look like, there we go, so there's 2. I'm just gonna copy them. I select both and I press Alt so I can copy it. There we go, and there's another one. Oh, they almost all fit. I'm just gonna select all of them and move them up. There we go, so there's one. I need to make sure that they're properly aligned. So up here I have my align tools. If you don't see them up there, you can go to Window, Align, okay? And here are my align tools. They're all the same size, so it doesn't matter. I can align to horizontal right and I can distribute them evenly. There we go. And next I'm just going to group them. So when I group them, they all behave as one object. So to group something, you select all of them. You go to Object, Group. You can also right-click Group. Okay. Anyway, so now this is one group, and when I select it, it moves as if it's one item. So why this is important is because then I can select it and then go Control Paste, Control Copy, Control Paste, or I can just click and go Alt and drag it over, right? And then I have 2 very neat rows of these business cards, okay? I'm just going to align top just to make sure they are aligned, and here we go. So they need to be in line with each other and evenly spaced out. Okay, so again, they must be aligned to each other and evenly spaced out. Now I can select all of them and I'm going to go to Object, Ungroup, so they don't need to be grouped anymore. Okay, so again in my layers, I'll show you what happens. I'm just going to go, if I select all, okay, and then go Object, Group, it groups everything. So in my layers, I have one group. However, if I select all and go Ungroup, now I have many rectangles instead of one group of rectangles, okay? And the advantage is that I can do things to them separately now. All right, so after I have all these lined up, you need to do something else, which is you need to create trim marks around them. And the reason is because trim marks allow the printer, who is the person that works at the print shop, to know where to cut these. So without trim marks, the person that works at the printer will not know where to cut them, okay? Because he needs some lines that tell him where to cut. So how you create it is you click on each business card. So click on the first one, go to Object, and create trim marks. And it will create the trim marks on that business card. Okay, so you can see that these ones are a little bit off, but that's okay because you can still see this ones. Okay, so what he's going to do is cut along these lines. He has this big slicer tool that he's going to chop it off along these lines. So let me just pause and show you what that tool looks like. All right, so the slicer tool looks like this. So you can imagine aligning your sheet here on the slicer tool. So it's going to slice away. Anyway, so you have to make sure that the trim mark is on each one of these business cards. So you have to go to each one and create a trim mark 10 times. All right, but before you do this, you have to create the business card completely in whole first, and that's in my next video. I'll talk about that.